Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Live. I'm your host, Ponophobia. Sorry for the delayed start this week. We were just getting back from some Optimus Towns Battle Arena. Of course, you are watching T-Force 17. This is what we do on the weekly basis. If you guys just got from Optimus Town, we do broadcast this live. We post it tomorrow, Wednesday a.m. So any of you guys listening to this tomorrow, you guys missed out on a great podcast tonight. I can already say it. We haven't even started. So to my left, you will see Ranhert over here. Hi, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
So, as they talk, Hornet, I want you to go ahead here because I got to fix some stuff on the T-Force Live. My camera keeps going in and out and everything. So, Hornet, go ahead.
What's going on, gentlemen? How are y'all doing?
And, of course, with us is Auslander.
Yeah, I think Tom is rubbing off on you, and I don't know if I like it. You're like too upbeat. Really I miss the dark, the dark Pone of past.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I just
brooding Pone. Yeah, Tom's always in a good mood. For somebody that never gets any sleep and is constantly doing stuff, he's always in a good mood.
Yeah, I don't think I like it, to be honest. I think something's up.
I'm not allowed to be upbeat?
Well, I'm just not used to it, I guess.
Maybe it's time to just reduce your intake of Starbucks shots. I mean, seriously.
Maybe that's how I'm rubbing off on Tom here. Maybe I'm just taking too much Starbucks shots. Potentially. So, guys, how's your week been? Have you guys played any good games or anything?
Played some pretty decent games. Last night on the Battle Arena, which, by the way, is now 5 nights a week. Which is pretty cool. So Tom's Battle Arena going 5 nights a week. And played some decent games last night. I've been playing a little bit more Ari, trying to get better with her, trying to add a little bit more of a burst into my game as opposed to just the tanky mids. So working with her, and then got my ass handed to me by a 1700 plus ELO Karma when I played Mordekaiser mid. So we'll probably talk about that a little bit later on when we get to talk about one of our fan comments that was sent in to us. But AP mid Karma, not something I was ready for, and just owned me.
God, that Karma, she does a crap load of damage, doesn't she? I mean, you kill her, you think you're killing her, she just does more damage the more damage she takes.
Oh, yeah, the shield is ridiculous. Her poke is great. It heals. She can heal her own minions. It's just ridiculous. So the push is incredible. And then, of course, it was a pretty bad matchup for Mordekaiser because, I really just have the burst with the E, and then everything else, my shield and my Q is all in melee range. So it's like, what are you going to do? You use your E, she shields it, or you use your ult also, she shields that too, runs away, and you don't get any other damage in there. And she turns around, hits you with her Q, and you have no life left. So pretty bad. I don't know. Pretty bad.
There's a joke in there of Ranhert syndrome and Karma, but I don't know. I can't put it together quite yet. Something about, for all the Ranhert syndrome you have, it's kind of karma that it kind of stuffed you.
You know what's funny about Ranhert syndrome? Just before we did this live, we actually got 50, I think we had 60 viewers talk about Ranhert syndrome before this. We got a whole bunch of people getting on this bandwagon. So, buddy, you are going to be big. You are big time now.
I don't like this. I'd rather be bigger for something other than my downfalls and flaws.
That's not a downfall and flaw. That is Ranhert syndrome.
Yeah, it's called a syndrome for a reason.
Like Tom said, you're more famous than Tom now.
Oh, all right, great. Now I'm moving up in the ladder. Now if I can just get above, I don't know who'd be above Tom. Somebody else.
SK Pone, Hornet AJC, Auslander, YWNA.
Four court's like way higher, Tom. Come on, man. Jeez. I'm just kidding, buddy.
Auslander, Hornet, you guys play any good games this week?
Well, let me say that I've been quite occupied with studying for a test that an exam I had to take, but besides that, I've basically played all Shyvana for probably the last week and a half, and it's really interesting how you get to points with her in some ranked games where her damage is great, but you have to play really positionally smart with her as far as where you take your ganks, and then the fact is that her ultimate I kind of actually used more flash-wise unless I really felt confident I could get into a team fight, because you needed exhaust, because you needed that slowing effect. Now, if you go for a phage early, you can do the same thing, but I had some really awesome games. I got to play a game, I believe.
I don't know. Did anyone else have Hornet cut out here?
Was Ranhert another
there
friend of
he goes,
mine?
coming back.
And,
Sorry if I interrupted
I
you.
put together two, so, but then you'll get to other games where like you just be a tick off, and she is really a specific champion. So no, go ahead. It was one of those feelings where I feel like she is a really specific champ to have as a high accuracy rate you need to make sure you make your ganks exactly where they need to be. So that's all I got to play recently. I'm really looking forward to Rammus being free this week, though. I am definitely going to play the hell out of him as much as I can, but of course I won't be able to pick any kind of draft because he'll be banned every time this week. I fully expect him to be banned in every game I see.
Right,
so
right.
I'm gonna have to do random picks and just do whatever. But we'll talk about that later.
Moving on, Auslander, played a good thing this week. Obviously, you played with the Banhammer. Of course, you had a good game.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I played with you this week. You were doing other things. I think you were sanding cabinets and painting bathrooms.
Being domestic.
Yeah. I played a bit with Ranhert on Friday, I think. That was probably the last I really had a chance to play, unfortunately.
I think that was the last I got a win, too.
I wouldn't go that
wasn't
far.
because of me, that's for sure. But yeah, it's had some good games. Those were kind of like trolley games, I guess, but definitely a lot of fun.
Well, that's good. I'm glad everyone had some good games. I haven't really gotten to play, like I said, but actually starting Friday night. Actually, I want to run down real quick on Thursdays. Not just Thursday, but let's take a step back here. Optimus Tom, for those who don't know, he's running 5 days a week Battle Arena. If you've been watching on Mondays, every single night this week and for the next whole month, you'll see each one of us, probably sans Auslander since he's just so shy, casting at some point. So watch the Battle Arena. Twitch.tv/Optimus_Tom. Find anybody you want, bring them in there. We'll play together. We just got done casting on it. You'll find the VODs tomorrow. Going on with that, Tom and I signed up for an amateur tournament, actually, so we'll be casting it on Thursday, and then moving into Friday, I will be streaming all weekend and picking up IP Boost because the wife is out of town. I sanded cabinets, I tiled floors. Now I get to play all weekend. So I think the other guys know how that works.
Domesticated husband incoming. We can see it now.
Yeah, just need to break that mold while you can.
I
Set
don't
the rules straight, cut it off, say, look, I'm going to play and do what I want when I want. That's all there is to it.
Oh, that's terrible, Ranhert.
Well,
just wait till she gets a regular 9-to-5 job. Then we'll see where your priorities lie.
Don't even, because I know what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to turn into Hornet, where I get to play like 2 nights a week.
That's about right. That's pretty good right there. At least I have another activity that I get out of the house with, though.
Yeah, fair enough.
You used to have your gym and MMA. Now you're even lacking in that. We'll see what happens.
Don't remind me. I'm going to find something. I'm going to tell her. I'm going to pull the Ranhert. Listen, I'm coming home. I'm making the money. I'm going to play from 8 to whatever I want to go to bed.
Yeah, good luck with that. I want to see. Let me know how that makes out. I want to see.
No problem.
Ranhert, any comment?
It kind of works. But you only get like 1 or 2 games in a night, and then you're like, when both of those games are horrible losses, you just look at your clock and say, wow, I really do not want to go to bed right now. I can't go out on this note, but you could be up all night trying to get a win. That's solo queue for you.
That's right. That's why we only play with Optimus Tom or any of you guys, right?
Yeah, then he brings in like full pre-made teams, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm bringing in pugs, random people. I got like 6 supports on my team. How is that even possible? There's only 5-person teams, but I've got 6 supports. That's crazy. It's because some people are so failed that it actually turns me into a support. So figure that one out.
You know what? I usually had to be the support. Remember the last game we played when I was Vade? You guys trolled me the entire fucking match. Oh, look at that Vade support. Can't kill anybody. Alistar's going to carry the team.
I believe I took red from you at one point. I was like, you're like, why are you taking red? I was like, because you've got no kills. You're just a support.
I should have started building gold for 5 items.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, you didn't even start off. I mean, you were obviously in the carry position. We had a real support, but it was just you could never finish off the kills for whatever reason. Just like, all right, we got all these assists.
Because they take them from me.
I mean, support main.
I need to support Janna.
Was that 6th support the guy who took promote and then took a cannon minion and said, here, this is the who you used to support and let him go do damage? Because seriously, I just played a rank game where the Heimerdinger took promote. I was like, what? Did I see that right? And sure enough, he would just be like, oh, yep. big
Hell
big
yeah!
can promote.
I
come
could
right at you.
see it. You know, you drop promote on Heimerdinger, plus you have all those turrets. Those towers are gonna drop in no time.
I'd like
Yeah,
to
it's
know what the
kinda
percentage
nasty.
usage is of promote in regular games.
It didn't. Was it last week? I think it was last week.
Yeah,
Someone
that was
asked
a
if we could
topic
promote.
last week, and we just said, that's it, no promote, only if you're trolling.
Or unless
Austin
you're doing
there
about
actually
the
pretty much
trolling
shot it
way.
in the foot, and I couldn't argue with him, so he started it off. He said there is no promote, but sure, please, guys, if you want to talk about promote, by all means, we can resurrect the topic and get the other half of the group together, consensus.
Yeah, we'll pass.
All right, that's what I thought.
As I'd like to remind all of you, if you could please, if you haven't already, and you really do enjoy us, subscribe to us on iTunes. We're still looking for maybe
I think
200, 250. We can make Pwn do something domesticated now.
We're actually
Revenue
at 225 right now.
Oh,
Hey, you were supposed to do something at 200, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that never happened. I'm gonna screenshot it from. I think
Yeah.
I think the top we've hit is about 250. So for some reason, I don't know how the whole feed stats works. Like I see one week 243, and the next week is like 195. So I don't really know how Feedburner works. If someone wants to tell me how that exactly works, I don't know.
It might in iTunes. It might be that they never actually log in to sync iTunes.
Fair.
Because if you don't log in, you don't download it.
Right.
And then the numbers can be different. So I could see how that happens.
So
That
it
would
changes
surprise me.
every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Every week probably.
But it's pretty much actually every day. Like I logged in right now, it says 197, but if I start looking at some of the feeds, it says 243, 240. So maybe I need to go look up how Feedburner actually works.
Yeah. In any case, I wanted to start on a topic because I really miss this game, to be honest with you.
Really?
There's an old game called Magic the Gathering.
Ooh.
Oh, you know you loved it.
I love
Except for the
Magic.
Oh, I
addiction
did.
and
I actually got a ton
spending
of cards
money.
back from the closet. I could walk my camera over there right now and show everyone my giant
Yeah,
fucking stack of
nobody
cards.
cares. Come on now.
Oh, Tom cares! Don't you, Tom? Say it in chat!
Tom probably does. I apologize. Tom probably does care. But you know
He
what,
did
Tom?
care until he dumped all of his Magic the Gathering shows to do Battle Arena 5 nights a week.
Yeah, yeah, and then Tom promoted his love to Ranhert, so I can't legitimize him anymore. But anyway, do you think and Magic the Gathering implemented a long time ago a standard, which I believe they called it, was it tier 2? I believe it was called tier 2 if I remember correctly. Anyway, the whole idea was you can only play cards within Magic the Gathering that were within the last 2 years, and so it kept it an up-to-date thing, and of course it forced you to buy more cards if you wanted to stay in it, and it was a pretty good marketing scheme in any case.
It was Type 2, not Tier 2, Type 2.
Type 2, I'm sorry, that's what it was. I knew the 2 was involved. Do you think League of Legends will eventually get to have so many heroes that they will need to start phasing out some of the really old champions as they continually bring in new champions and keep them with only in a certain time frame? I personally don't think they will. I think if anything we might see more bans, or we might just see champions that are never used just kind of fall off the face of the earth because they'll be nerfed so bad, like an Evelyn. Like, you don't see Evelyn unless you're trolling. But I'm kind of curious as a discussion topic of this, because as an old Magic the Gathering player, I understood the purpose of it, but I don't think they come out with quite enough champions to pull this off right now. At least that's not my feeling.
Well,
Yeah, I hate to see that kind of thing happen. I mean, it's one of those things where I think that when they get so many champions that a lot of champs are going to start having kind of similar kits for the roles that they're in, I mean, we'll probably see a lot of players really start to analyze, do I like the look of this champion? Do I like their skins? And do I like, do I like who they are and how they play, their lore maybe even? I don't know. That's really going far. But we may see some favorites, really start to adapt to the actual champion themselves, as opposed to whether or not they're OP or whether or not they own their lane or the laning phase or late game, whatever. So maybe we'll see some of that, but I really don't expect that we're going to see them start to eliminate champions that you've spent money on from the game. It would just cause a pretty big community outrage. And Riot's been pretty good about listening to the community. We saw the Fiddlestick skin and some of the things that they've done have been spawned on by the community, and it's a very big community-based game where this community is kind of fickle. So to do something like that could really drive a lot of these players off to a competing platform like Dota 2 when that comes out.
Well, I don't think it's the worst idea ever. I actually kind of like it. Like, I think it would be interesting if there were different formats in play, sort of like how Magic has standard or extended. So I think that could actually be pretty cool. Like, maybe in like the League of Legends extended, you can play the original 40 champions, but in standard, those champions are out of the rotation. So I mean, I think it would open up doors for different types of play and different types of competition, like almost like how they have the Magic the Gathering Worlds, where it's in multiple formats. There'll be a draft format, there'll be whatever, some classic or extended format, and then there'll always be the standard format, which is like the newest sets. So I think it actually could be cool if, to see teams compete against each other over multiple formats, like maybe only old champs and then only the new ones. I mean, it's probably a little too early for those discussions now because there's only, there's 93 champs or 94 champs now.
Right. A good thing might be, like they've said here, a faction format. If they start bringing up enough people, Noxus, Ionia, Demacia, like we see, great thing about doing this live is people can bring up some great ideas for us. So, thanks for tuning in. But no, I think, like my idea, we kind of touched on this before. Maybe they'll start bringing in champs that kind of do the same thing. We touched on Ashe a couple episodes back, where we said, is Ashe ever going to get phased out for a new champion? Perhaps Riot might go down the road where they phase out Ashe completely and bring in a new champion that has a similar skill set yet better, and that could be another route they go down with this. At the same time, I don't think doing some kind of tournaments or doing some kind of tier or sets like that would be a bad thing for Riot to do. They have to do something, because once you get past the 100 champion mark, what are you going to do?
Maybe this is how they phase out supports, because they still haven't come out with one in forever. Leona is now the latest one, and she's how many months in? I'd be kind of curious to know if that's, I like the idea of having a different type of format where you play different formats because of you're only allowed so many champions to choose from. And then I would really be curious to see how that would work out. Just a different playing phase. I'm not sure if it would ever get to that point, but it sounds like a lot of fun. I gotta say, it does sounds really cool.
Yeah, I like the idea that they have to keep going. And is it Zephyrius? Is that the Red's name? I'm as people know, I can't say names.
Yeah, Zephyrius.
Yep. He seems to be the most diverse when it comes to making champs. Like, he just made Nautilus, which is Nautilus. A lot of people have been comparing him to Blitzcrank because of his pull. However, he's just such a diverse champion and really balanced all around. There's not much you would really change on Nautilus. So if we see more people coming in like that, making these unique champions, making these champions that are just very well rounded, we might not have to see these different kind of like phasing out, like we've talked about, or different tier sets or whatever. So we just really need more people coming in here and really making these diverse, awesome champions.
As somebody said, they'd, one champion every 2 weeks is almost too much. You know what? We're still buying them, and so Riot will keep pushing them.
What do you mean weeks? Hold on. What do you mean weeks?
I take that back. You guys are still buying them, because I have yet to buy one that has not been on sale. I don't know that I haven't bought a champ that isn't on sale besides like Ashe and Rise when I first started. So
have you bought a champion bundle yet?
No.
Oh wow. Okay. I was like that for a while. Like for now, I've only been buying champions on sale, but I see all these new champions come out. Like I bought Riven first day. I bought Nautilus. I don't know who else. Auslander would probably be able to tell me who I bought first day because he seems to keep up on what I do.
Yeah. No. Sorry. I let you down, but it's not going to happen.
You really are like my babysitter. Every day I talk to you. So what should I buy, Auslander? Well, I think you should buy these glyphs. Okay.
Well, you're like my Google. If I have a question, I just send it to Pone and let him look it up for me and give me the answer. I mean, I could go to Google, but this seems a little more efficient.
He says, "What I adamant for you?"
Yeah, let me Cogswell that for you.
Yeah, there you go. So, you guys have any other thoughts on that particular topic? I don't know, Ranhert, you might have looked like you had something to say.
Oh no, I was just laughing.
As long as I don't have to buy more booster packs, I'm cool. Just
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could definitely see, the tournaments might run the formats, but I don't see the actual just like regular, normal, and draft pick games run in different formats. It just seems like they're going to want to be as open as possible to their fan base and their clientele, while offering new champs and continuing to make money off of skins and a champ every 2 weeks and things like that. I mean, they really have done a pretty good job of keeping this game pretty balanced, all new Shen tweaks aside. So we should see some pretty good things coming out. And I really, we could have had this conversation 6, 7, 8 months ago, and I wouldn't have really foreseen some of the really great champs that we've had come out recently that have had different kits and different things going on. I just didn't see them coming, and yet they're here. So I wouldn't discount Riot to this point. They've done pretty well with different kits and different champs and the roles that they play, and making them able to do different roles. And who knows? We might see different meta again. A different shift in the meta could actually, create new champ opportunities and different ways to play the champs that they currently have.
Absolutely, you make a good point, but I kind of want to move on to some more champs. We talked about Ashe being, or at least I talked about Ashe being a little bit behind in some of the carries. She keeps up fairly well. We've seen some other people that we play with play her and do really good with her. But moving on, does Tristana? We had a question come in from another one of our listeners named Limit754. He asked, does Tristana need some quality of, or is it quality of service love?
Quality of life.
Quality of life. I don't know why the hell I tried to replace the L with
L is for
life.
Something other than service.
Well, yeah, they don't start with the same, do they? So, no, does she call it some quality of life love? Does she feel? Do you guys feel like she's fallen off? I know I play AD bot, and I have my own opinions, but I thought I'd ask you guys first what you figure out.
Well, actually, I'd like to get your opinion, knowing that you've squared off against Holy Spork, who's done a number of battle arenas and some other things against you. I know you faced his Tristana. I think it's pretty good. Plays a really nice Tristana, but what do you think about facing off against a Tristana, being that you're the resident AD of the group?
Well, Tristana, she has a pretty good early game, and then the mid game is where she falls off, and then late game, because of her passive, allows her to do great. The unfortunate thing about Tristana is that she has to have some kind of support that's going to help her initiate with her W, which does that extra damage. Other than that, she doesn't really do too much because she doesn't have that range between that, just after early game and the mid game where she can really get pushed back. Now, Holy Spork does a great job. He's the only Tristana that I've really played against that's really good. He does a great job of playing it. However, I don't feel outclassed whenever I play Tristana. I can play Misfortune, who doesn't have a lot of pushing ability, and pushed right back because I know how to last hit and I know how to push and CS at the right time. Now, I'm not, Chaos level AD carry, but it doesn't take a genius to realize you need to be, hitting other creeps at the same time while she's pushing them down. There's just this little ebb and flow of how you play bottom lane. Now, moving that into there, Tristana, I don't think she needs anything. She's got her kit. She's got her place for the right teams. You pair her with a Alistar or a Taric, she can pop in with her W and do that extra damage. It's a different type of playstyle than most people are used to when they start with the Caitlyn, for example.
Yeah, I think Tristana's right where she needs to be right now. She wasn't really played very much for a while when Kog'Maw and Vayne and Graves were like, that's all you can play. They're so OP. They all got brought down a little bit, and Ashe got a little love. Triss pretty much stayed the same, but we started seeing like Chaos play Triss a lot more, and then she got a little bit of love too. So it's one of those things where some of the other top tier AD carries were brought down, and I think Tristana's right up there. I think really the AD carry area is really probably one of the most balanced roles in the game right now, in my opinion, besides like support. But I think it's pretty balanced as far as all the champs that really are AD carries bot lane.
I think she needs a little more love, and the reason I say that is she is so specific right now on which support goes with her. You have to have Alistar, or you have to have
absolutely
a Leona to go with her in order to make sure you can hold somebody in place, to put her there and then just damage out. Because otherwise, she is Corki with less damage, in my opinion. And Corki has the distinct advantage of being able to push anybody out of lane and doesn't really need the support, any specific support to do it. She can just push and push and push. he can push and push. I think Tristana does need a little bit of love, whether it be a little bit more range or a little bit more, scaling on her ult. There's a couple things they could do. Just a little touch to her, I think, would make it better, because they buffed her and then it felt like they.
Now, what would you
brought
do to
back a
her
little.
to really make her better, though? Because, like, as some other people I've seen pointed out, that the W, her rocket jump, is really what sets a good Tristana from a bad Tristana. They don't use it as an escape; they use it as an engage, and that's where the damage comes from. And it gets reset as soon as she kills somebody.
Well, but that's the problem. In order for you to hit the W, you can act like you're going to do it, but there's enough delay where somebody can move out of the way. So you need the actual support that's going to say, that's going to keep them in place so then the W hits.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, you can either make the W a little faster, or you can give her a little bit more range on her shot to begin with. I think one of those two things would make her better, because she doesn't just walk up to somebody and be able to, really damage them unless she's already fed. Like, you can't walk up to somebody with Tristana and say, oh, hey, I'm just going to sit here and poke you and not get in trouble without having to use a W to escape. So, in my opinion, you need to give her one or the other. The W is slow enough that you can see it and get out of the way, and it's similar, it's like seeing Ezreal's ultimate come, except Ezreal's got a bigger window to hit from, like all the way, straight line. When you're trying to use the W with Tristana, you have that small window where you're trying to hit, and if you don't hit it, that's it. Like, you're not going to get anything else from it.
I agree. I think the W is the only place, or her rocket jump's the only place that she needs any kind of love, because she does become a very, very good carry late game because of that extra range she keeps gaining. She ends up getting, she has the most range at the end of the game that any AD carries. So boosting that, even making the animation faster, or even possibly making it so she's completely invincible once she leaves the ground, could change how Tristana's played completely.
Absolutely. And I know some people are saying that in chat too. Is her W can be affected in so many glitch ways. Like, the full animation doesn't happen if it's interrupted in a couple different ways, and it feels like there's too many ways to interrupt it when she's already high in the air. Like, an opposing Alistar on the ground charges her while she's in the air. That doesn't make any sense. Like, let her get gored by the horn at least while she's up there, but not have something where she almost the full animation comes, but then again somebody sees it. So I mean, yes, it's a nice initiate. But I wish it was better with it's so reliant on your team comp or who your support is. Like, that's the way it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think another big change that could happen for Tristana, and I think it's well warranted, is that her legendary skin sucks. It's a freaking firefighter. She shoots water instead of cannonballs. Get out of here! Like, give her a better legendary skin.
You don't even play AD carries. I don't think you're even allowed to talk about it.
I know, really. What?
Yeah, you heard me. You're not even allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, you heard it right. Yeah, that's right.
I already got one legendary AD carry skin. That's all I need.
What the hell? What skin do you have?
Cogmaw.
Oh.
Lion Dance.
I remember when you bought that. Little known fact about Ranhert, he was trying to figure out what position he wanted to play in. He bought Cogmaw on the Lion Dance skin straight out. Spent the $20 and then played it for like 2 days. I was like, he's too fucking squishy for me.
He's got no escape. It's not good for Ranhert syndrome to not have any escape.
My favorite part too is he bought Cogma on like a Wednesday and it went on sale on Friday.
I remember that now.
Yeah, at that time it was Auslander and I playing the AD bot all the time together. So yeah, I was thinking I was going to AD carry, but that's more for my taste.
Well, you shouldn't try to be AD carry the Cogmaw. That takes a special kind of person. Hell, I play AD carry enough. I don't even try to do Cogmaw. It's not because I can escape. I just can't play him. He takes a special kind of person to really play. And a special team, because you got to play protect the fucking Cogmaw.
I'm a pretty special type of person, but it's not that right type of person. It just doesn't work. I run in there, I go balls deep, I flash under the tower, and then I'm like, oh shit, what do I do now?
I only have 200 life.
I have one slow, and it sucks. Now what do I do?
Yeah, you gotta be sniper active with that ultimate of his. I mean, but don't get me wrong, in the right hands it's freaking good. Like, whoever predicts it well and has the lowest ping, yeah, that thing is nasty in the right hands. But for most of us, no, it just doesn't work.
What?
I actually played AP Cog in mid one time, just for fun of it, and it works pretty well, but against the right type of champ, or even AD Cog in mid, you could go dual ADs if you're going up against, Morgana or somebody that's a common pick nowadays. You could go, Teemo or Kog'Maw in mid, and just poke.
You and that damn Teemo. Ranhert and I sat down for a whole day discussing any kind of counter pick we could do for Morgana, and he's like, well, the only champion that I could play really well is Teemo, and he's got range, and I think I could Teemo mid him against Morgana.
Oh, I certainly could.
I think it's a challenge. Do we have a really good Morgana that listens to this podcast and be like, I'm up for it, guys, let's go.
Yeah, actually, I have a good friend. I have a good friend named Gary who I will try and pull in, who plays Morgana a lot, and actually Chris has played with him as well. We'll test that theory. You know what I think the theory is? I think the theory is Teemo's so freaking small that he can avoid the dark binding easier. That's my feeling. That's why he can play Teemo against Morgana. He just doesn't get bound.
That's right. Well,
he just dodges everything.
He's got speed, and his auto attacks have poison, and it all goes through the shield. I mean, it's just...
See, look at this. People are saying Urgot. I told you. I said Urgot against Morgana. It's good game. Just pop her with that poison all day.
All right. I mean, I didn't say it was horrible, but I didn't really like all that.
You're the pessimist.
Just because she pushes so much. She pushes so much that Urgot can't farm up against his tower with a push. It's not as great.
Well,
So.
you stop her by pushing by having your middle just visit all day. I'm sorry, your jungle visit all day.
Well, I can't always get my jungle to visit all day.
You better poke Forak for that one. You
No,
need to
that's not his fault. I'm
babysit me.
just saying, sometimes other lanes aren't doing so hot. He's got to go visit them. Bottom.
Never bottom. Bottom's always pushed against the turret and always has everything warded. I am an amazing bottom. Get off me.
Yeah, who's your support now?
Wrecker?
No, okay, I give Record credit. I mean, he at least has words.
You haven't supported with... Well, no, every time you supported with me, we've done fantastic.
True. I'm supposed to play Janna with you at some point, but,
we can't
40
line up our
gazillion
schedules.
things going on, that may not happen for a month or two.
I know, right? God.
Jesus
After
Christ.
this podcast might be the first time we play together.
That's right.
And we'll see if that actually happens, too.
Oh,
I'm on it.
Well, if the girlfriend walks through that door back there, that might not happen.
Then I'm going to wave at her and tell her to go to bed.
Haven't you learned yet? Like we're doing this, they're going to go to bed. Like,
that's how that
the whole
works.
idea.
She just then she'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to be out of town until Sunday. We need to hang out." Come on. You have how long have you been married for?
Me?
Yes, you.
It'll be 3 years.
Okay, so you should know by now, and I'm sure you lived with her a little bit before that, correct? You should know by now. You can't just tell him to go off to bed.
You can tell him to go off and do whatever you want as long as it's not bothering you.
It's not like the forceful. It's the subliminal way of doing it. Like you don't force it down her throat. You're just like, hey, honey, aren't you just maybe a little tired? Maybe you need to get ready for the next day.
Okay. I'm gonna we're gonna have to talk tomorrow morning. I need some of these ideas.
Oh, you need to know how to become the domesticated husband. Okay.
That's exactly it. I'm already fucking laying tile and sanding covers.
You know what? I may actually start a guide, and maybe I'll post this on GGC, and if not, maybe someplace else, about how to really manage your time so that when you can get it right, you can get that hour you need to play a game of League of Legends to just help the habit.
I actually, on Sunday, I said, hey, babe, I'm going to go play League of Legends for like an hour. 2 hours later, she comes up and goes, hey, you've been playing for 2 hours. What's going on? Oops. So, yeah, that's the kind of thing I have to deal with.
I'm not going to post that guy on solo mid, by the way. Not a chance.
So
you think 5-6 guys living in a house together know what happens to a domesticated husbund?
Hell, they can't even masturbate around each other. I mean,
yeah, really.
Ooh.
That's right. We went there.
Where's this going?
When your most exciting thing is to take a break and go to 7-Eleven, you know they have no idea what's going on.
Or high hop and get a waitress's number with your trash bag.
Yes, there we go. Right. Like I want to see I want to know who's actually brought a girl into that house.
They brought whose sister? Was it Reginald's sister? Or Dandin's sister? I can't remember which one it was.
Does the sister
They have
count?
the same sister, dummy.
No, that's right. They do. I forget. It was one of the two sisters. Oh, it was Chaox. I'm sorry, Chaox's sister came in. Anyway, I don't fucking know.
I thought Chaox's sister was actually a Hotshot GG.
Well, we're gonna move on to the next thing. So, if you guys haven't noticed, this podcast has been completely user-driven. Today, I sent out a tweet to LeagueCraft, and I said, hey, retweet this. I need ideas. You know, we had a whole bunch of ideas, but I really wanted to make this podcast about the fans and what they wanted to know. So we had KP Inferno tweeted at us, and he said, can you guys summarize the meta and what distinguishes it from other meta options? He said, I heard the last meta, TSM, this last week they talked about the snowball meta, and they wanted, you know, and he wasn't sure what the snowball meta meant. So, Auslander, you haven't talked much. Do you have any thoughts on the different metas and what they may be called and how they work?
Well, there's like the stall meta too, which I guess is like the counter to the snowball meta, which is basically just pick all late game champs and just farm. But yeah, I mean, actually, I haven't really been keeping up on the competitive stuff all that much, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. Like, I don't know, maybe Hornet, who watched stuff this weekend.
I only picked you because you were kind of been quiet about the whole girlfriend thing.
Right.
Oh, no, that's not coming out, is it?
I didn't mean it like that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, Hornet. I'm so glad my face is posted all over the internet right now so people can see me turning red.
Yeah, there we go. Let me say this: you can pick late game champs, but when you have coordinated teams, that's really tough. I will say in solo queue, especially higher levels of solo queue, snowball versus late game definitely happens a lot. You see it in a lot of games. You watch a lot of casters play solo queue, and you'll see that happen. But realistically, in games, you can try and do it, but the bigger thing is, and you know, I'll take for example what M5 has done as far as being really pressurized and pushing lanes to the point where they can go into your jungle and start taking things that they want. The real key to that is how you make them pay. So when you have snowball champions like that, say for instance you have a Shyvana top and she's going to go into the jungle, how do you make her pay for going there and being out of position? Because that's the real key is you know, making somebody punish somebody for actually going into your jungle. And Solo Mid actually was able to do that in one of the games in Kiev, and you could see it happen as they went in and they punished them. And I remember even M5 staying too long trying to get a blue buff back. I think in Moscow, in a Moscow 5 versus CLG EU in Kings of Europe, that also happened, where they stuck around too long for a blue buff trying to take it away, and ended up all three of them diving for it, and all three of them dying because of it. So, you know, the snowball formats, they're nice, but the problem is that they also usually take chances with those snowball formats, and how do you punish them for those chances? Whether they're pushing lanes too far and get ganked, or they're going into your jungle to try and steal things and get caught. Like, there are a lot of things that happen, and coordinated teams know how to support each other when that happens. Like, for instance, Shyvana goes in and she starts saying, and then all of a sudden, oh, they saw me. Does Shyvana's jungler and AP mid, for instance, if they're going in, do they come and support them immediately in their jungle to get them out of there, or do they come support them and get an early kill so that there's nobody else that can come support and they can take whatever positions they want? Like, that's just some of the things that you can do to really get yourself away from. It's a wait and see approach, yes, but it's a way to go after people in that case.
That. Absolutely, there's a ton of different metas here, and lots of people saying they love your insight. So great to have you around here all the time too, Hornet. You follow the pro scene a lot more than we do. When it comes to any of these kind of metas and everything, and how people play. Now, I didn't watch the Odd Ones vlog all the way through. I just was trying to listen to him and see what he said about why they lost and everything. But it seemed like a lot of times when I watched them that everybody wants to play the champion they want to play, and so they just kind of decided to pick, we're all going to pick snowball champions and see what the hell happens. And we saw how that kind of worked in the last Go for LOL tournament against people like M5 who are always trying to change up the meta and all that. And a lot of times, I think that's the hardest thing for people to grasp is how to work the meta in while, counter picking and keeping it right for their team comp. we've talked about it. You've talked about it in depth before about counter picking, and I kind of want to touch on that because this is the same thing. How do you run that snowball meta while trying to counter pick at the same time? There's just so many little meta and mind games that go on at this point in Team Select for any of that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll give you one. If you remember when Team Solomid played SK Gaming in Kiev, and it was funny that you watched the bans and you were wondering because Ocelot plays a lot of the same champions as Reginald. So one of the ideal things is you had two top lane or two mid lane AP mids who play a lot of the same champions, main the champions, and LeBlanc was the one that was out there and open. So we're all wondering, well, what is going to happen with this, and is LeBlanc actually going to be picked? And what happened is nobody picked an AP mid, but TSM had first pick. So they took their Sona that they took all throughout that tournament. During the 3-4 picks for SK Gaming, they took LeBlanc. And immediately that gave Reginald the advantage, and he takes, why you gotta tease me with that, Ranhert? You suck. Immediately, Reginald takes Sion, and that Sion was just a masterful pick as far as countering and pushing, because he dominated the lane the way he wanted. LeBlanc didn't get the farm she wanted. They ganked all the time. I mean, even while LeBlanc was at the tower, she went down a couple different times. And that's just an example of a counter picking that happens while snowballing. I always say this, in the top levels where teams are coordinated against each other, your counter picking actually means more a lot of times than just your snowballing. It depends on how lane matchups go, and depending on the junglers that are picked that support them and how lanes mesh together. But if you want to snowball, you also got to look at how the matchup will go. Like, for instance, a pretty safe snowball character in almost every format is Aurelia. Aurelia really isn't counter-picked per se at top lane. She's just a solid top. However, the one thing you can do is if you take somebody like a Shyvana or a Gangplank, is Gangplank can poke her from afar for a little while and then also get what he wants in and out, but a Shyvana can push the lane pretty easily and then go roam elsewhere. So,
well, even against it, we watched, if you were watching the battle arena before this, we saw a Nidalee versus an Aurelia top, and the Nidalee was actually winning the lane the entire time because of that Cougar form giving her that extra magic resistant armor, stopping that Aurelia from doing anything. I mean, there was other things that went on in that game that prevented the Aurelia to pushing back, but I agree, you can't really counter her well, but you can stop her from farming by pushing her up against the tower the best you can. The same thing, but see, I don't really like the Gangplank top pit much anymore because he doesn't crit. Again, going back to the Reddit versus Reddit match we did earlier, where Gangplank was versus a top lane Warwick. Gangplank can't poke because he can't crit anymore, so there's really no point in poking with your Q with somebody who can heal right back, like that Aurelia or that Warwick. You just need to sit up there and farm all day. So I would say Warwick is really the same way with that Aurelia, where if you pick them, they can't really be counter-picked top, but you can't stop them to the best of your ability from farming with a jungler.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the same thing. It's there's certain champs that you just can't push away, and I think that makes a huge difference as far as the laning goes. But it's always noticeable how top and mid are usually the last picks when you're doing drafts with high-end teams. They can solidify.
Be the last picks.
I agree, because they want to worry about the matchups and how they go first, than to set up, particular snowball champs, as we're saying at this point. So, notice how important those roles are, in that they want to counter pick instead of worrying about having their particular great champ.
Right. I think this kind of goes over in the solo queue. I know it's harder to do. Excuse me. With the lower elo, because a lot of people will be like, I go top, and they just take Rumble and they go top. They don't care what someone else picks.
God.
Yeah, we've all done it. But a lot of people, if you guys are playing solo queue, try your best to lead the team and say, don't pick Brand first pick. try to get somebody to pick it for you and swap if you can. If you are really interested in playing solo queue, you have to have a lot of champions. And you know, the higher you get, you have to have all those champions. You have to invest money into this game to really get higher in solo queue unless you are duo queuing. That's my personal opinion. But other people, you know, have been able to do it by just picking the one champ and you know, or one or two champs they can, but that's where you really start excelling in this game, is to be able to be versed in all the different lanes and being able to know when to counter pick and helping your team out. Because a lot of people, Reddit's got 60K subscribers, and most of those read CLG and everything, and they're not all the people that are you know, playing the games with you. What is there? How many people are playing this game right now? How many millions of people? I can't remember off the top of my head. Does it know anyone? Anyone know?
It's a lot.
30 seconds.
I can't remember. There we go.
35, 36 million?
Yeah, so Reddit's a drop in the bucket. So all those posts that are out there like, hey, PSA, you need to do this. You guys got to remember, Reddit's just a very small drop in the bucket when it comes to this. So you need to help educate as many people as you can. Now, not everyone's going to listen, obviously, but that's what we're here for, is the Trinity Force podcast. You know, let everybody know what we're doing, and we'll try to help you the best we can. So I didn't mean to, you know, to take this in a whole weird, odd direction. Hornet, if you have anything else to say, go for it.
No, you know, the one thing I'll add to it is I don't think you necessarily need a lot of champs, but when you're in the lower elo bracket, I'm going to tell you that meta really doesn't matter all that much. It just really doesn't. It's whoever plays their champ better and doesn't chase. Honestly, it's my newfound thing is to tell people not to chase. Because bad things happen when you chase in this game. Whether I'll just leave it at that. Don't chase. It's not good.
Yeah, it's like kind of. I know we all played like Street Fighter and stuff, but if you ever looked at like the Street Fighter matchups, they always would do the analysis where it was like, oh, it's a 5-5 matchup, or it's a 6-4 or 4-6, or God forbid a 7-3 or something. But you know, it was basically if you had two of the best players playing that character in a fighting game, and they were to square off in 10 matches, how many would each win? And, you know, that was all fine and good, except you're probably, if you're reading that, you're not the best player in the game, and therefore that matchup doesn't really mean lick a shit of difference to you. So, that all being said, that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's like, okay, well, there is some sorts of counter picks and, you know, those kinds of things, but if you're not that good at that champion, or not at your best, it's just not going to be very good. You need to be able to play your champion, play him to a high degree, and most of the time, even the counter picks, you're going to know how to play that matchup and play against it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. I just want to say that the meta doesn't matter until you start getting above 1,400, 1,500. Then the meta really does, you know, play into effect, because people actually play into their roles and know their roles well. It's not, you know, I've seen some of the most retarded compositions. I still remember having 4 APs on a team in ranked, and the Trinity, who happened to be the 1 AD, going, oh, this is GG. You know, before it starts, it's already GG. Next thing you know, because people played their roles well, didn't matter. We still won the game because it was people knew how to play. It doesn't. Don't think that the meta matters in the lower elos, but once you get to the higher elos, then start to worry about it in solo queue, where that actually does make a difference, and matchups make a difference, and people will actually pick matchups the way they are. But yeah, I wouldn't even bother in lower solo queue. You know, under 1,200 especially. Don't even bother worrying about the meta necessarily. Just follow it to the point where you can play a role that matches. You know, Nidalee can play support, you know, in a lower elo. That's pretty easy. Kaylee can play support, and they actually do roles which actually do well for them.
You didn't just say Kaylee, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, God. I had never heard that until somebody, I forget who I was watching, and somebody said Kaylee. I was like, what the hell is Kaylee? Get out of here. Kale.
Oh my God, what's going on? All right, you know what? I think we've kind of exhausted that into the driven that into the ground. So we had another tweet from another listener called Fiery25123.
You know, if you have numbers at the end of your Twitter, that makes you even that much better.
Well, I guess Ranhert needs to
I'm
be
sure there's
1,
no
2, 3,
other
4,
Fires.
5.
But if your username in LOL has numbers after it, you suck.
That's Odd One's philosophy, by the way.
The Odd One hates Yordles,
you
too.
play
So.
Yordles.
He hates Yordles too, but it's his philosophy. If you have numbers at the end of your name, numbers, bad. It means you're a bad player. And he proceeded to just let it go. And then he asked somebody, "Is there anybody out there, a professional, that actually has numbers at the end of his name?" And they named one professional that had numbers at the end of their actual name. So it was pretty funny. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, that kind of brings up this point, because he wants to know, how do we convince people to ward more? What is it gonna do to make these people in ranked play or draft play or whatever actually drop wards? What can we do?
Either you're going to be the person playing support that drops the wards, or you're just going to spend extra cash dropping wards for yourself. Honestly, as a jungler, I can do it. As a support, you can do it. But then, that's about it.
I buy a lot of wards when I play Mordekaiser or some of the other farm champs. Champs that just can farm and push easily because you're going to be making a ton of gold. So maybe you want to take a look at some of those champs that can afford to carry as well as buy wards. You're not going to buy 5 going back, but you can buy 2. Or at least 1. Every ward helps. Obviously, only the supports and maybe the jungler should be buying 5 wards coming back into the Fields of Justice. But that's one of the things. That's really all you can do is just buy your own wards. Don't try and buy the wards to make up for the rest of your teammates, but just buy your own wards to support yourself. And in later game, try and give you guys a little bit of vision to initiate team fights. And chances are, just that little bit's going to do the best. You're not going to be able to convince people to do something other than that. Yelling at the support to buy awards isn't going to work. So those are all things you could just do. But really, it just comes down to just buying your own wards and making the best of it.
Let me say this. For instance, if you jungle Lee Sin, you better always have a ward with you. Always.
Absolutely.
Because he can pull tricks off of his wards using his W. It makes a huge difference altogether. But, as a jungler, I can go spread wards, especially if I buy Wriggles, then I'll use that ward every chance I get. But I buy other wards. And especially, let me give you a great for instance. If you have to worry about a top lane because he's behind, and then he's getting harassed and pushed to the tower, or he's kind of having issues, they're exchanging whatever, and he gets ganked once, then if he doesn't go back with a ward, you better ward for him. Because otherwise he'll get ganked again, and probably die because he'll be overextended. And then the blame game starts. Trust me, I know. I've played so many jungle games at this point in ranked that it's the blame game of, you didn't come gank, and he came gank 3 times. Yeah, well, maybe I came gank once and it was unsuccessful, and then you get ganked and you didn't have any outs because you used your flash offensively. There's so many things that happen, but you can only do so much for retards. And I hate to say it, but
well, there's too many people that start ranked. Even I did it. I started ranked way earlier than I should have. I feel like
I did too.
I feel like if I was go back into ranked right now, I might be able to pull myself up higher than if I haven't played a ranked match in probably a month, and it's more because I don't have the time to do it between the Trinity Force podcast and doing stuff for GGC and everything. I just don't have time to play. I'd rather play with friends. But if I was to go back and actively play, I feel like I could actually pull myself out of Elo hell now. But it's the whole point where what I'm going back to is a lot of people they start ranked too early. They don't know enough about the game. They think they've played 300 games. They think they can do it, when in fact it takes 300 wins to get to level 30.
Yeah. That's basically it. But be selfish with your wards. If you're playing one of those other roles and you have to buy your own wards, put them in places that are going to benefit you to let you lane better. Don't bother trying to ward for somebody that's unwilling to buy, a ward for themselves, because chances are if they're not buying their own wards, they're not very map aware as it is. So your ward's putting down and your pings saying where the enemy jungler is coming from isn't going to do a lick of shit of difference again. So it's just one of those things where you have to just kind of suck it up and use the wards to the best of your ability. Obviously, again, I'm not talking about junglers or supports because they're really buying wards to benefit the team, but I played a game last night in the battle arena, and I'd come into lane as Mordekaiser with, or actually maybe as Ari with 2 wards, and DC Wasabi, who was playing our top, who's a very good top player, had asked if I had an extra ward, if anyone had an extra ward to throw up top, and certainly, I'll throw a ward up there, but he at least recognized the need for a ward up there and didn't have the opportunity to go get one for himself, so that's all good, but, so ward people that know they need a ward, but don't bother trying to ward for somebody that's completely oblivious. You're just not going to get anything done.
So that runs it down. The long and the short of it is do it yourself. Pick a top carrier jungle, top middle or jungle, and ward yourself, ward the map, keep up on it, and buy the items when you can. You can't always buy wards, but
and for those of you that might be listening that are playing in those elos, even just one ward is so useful in every lane. You can pick a purpose, but let me take mid for instance. If you take one ward, then you can ward one side of the river, and then you're safe to farm from that side of the river. And then if it comes to the top, they have to come a long way to come and get you. And more than likely, unless it's Rammus, they're not going to get there quite in time to come snatch you from the other side of the river. I mean, that's just an instance of where one ward makes that humongous difference. In top lane, you only need one ward. You can put the ideal placement just to make sure that you won't see them, and then you just have to watch to make sure they don't come in the bush up top. Bottom, one ward usually does it. It's nice to have a couple because you're playing in and out of the bushes, but one ward, just one, makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And you should definitely grab it.
So
was that enough of an announcement?
I think that's enough.
And not only that, but one to take really quickly, just take it one more step. Nobody in freaking low ELO buys oracles, so it's not like your money's going to go to waste. So you place your ward, and it's going to be there for the entire duration, and you're going to get vision. So
you know why you don't bother buying oracles? Because it's a freaking waste of your time.
Yeah, because nobody plays wards. So.
The only time you ever actually need it, like when you actually find a support that actually wards, the only one you need to worry about is you use a pink at Dragon or Baron.
Right.
And you usually aren't worried about everywhere else because everywhere else won't be warded.
Right, because no one's warding the race, or no one's warding the blues or anything. So what's the point of buying the oracles to that point?
Right.
It's a very, very, very good point. And a lot of people wonder, why spend 400 when I can spend 125, and that's exactly the time you need to do it. So I kind of want to round out this podcast. Last week, Riot released a new champion. We had talked about how they release them every 2 weeks. They released Nautilus, the terror of the sea or depths, or whatever the fuck he
I want
is.
to talk about this.
Yes, I love Nautilus. He is my new favorite champion. You may have seen.
No, he's not, you liar.
No, dude, if I could support every game as Nautilus, I would do it. I can fucking thread the needle every day as Q. I'll do it tonight. After this podcast is over, I'll play Nautilus.
No, you won't.
How am I supposed to play Janna with you?
Oh, well, all right, fine. I'm going to play Kog'Maw Janna, bottom lane. Anyway, I just don't have the sweet... Ranhert, can we switch accounts so I can have that sweet Kog'Maw skin?
Yeah, I can't handle all of your AP mids that you've bought.
I have Cassiopeia. I don't have Mordekaiser, though. It's fail. Anyway, no, Nautilus, dude. People play him in the jungle all the time. That's fine. He can be a fantastic jungler if he wants. I like him as a support in bottom lane because he zones so well. I sit in the bush with it warded and just spam my shift 4, which is the laugh. Because what are you going to do? Come at me? I'm going to dredge line you, auto attack you, pop my E, and by that in the meantime, my carry's coming. I've been putting so much damage into you, and I'm so tanky. You're not going to do anything.
Well, talk about the kill lane that you ran with him, because this has been mentioned on multiple other broadcasts, the kill lane that you ran, because that Optimus Tom's Battle Arena was that was sick. It was fun to watch the video the next day when I got to see it. Like just watch how that lane meshed together. So please talk about that first.
Holy Spork, as we talked about, he plays Tristana. We decided to play an Optimus Tom's Battle Arena on a Monday night or whatever it was, and I'm going to be all waving my arms around so people can see it. We played Sion Nautilus bottom lane. Yes, that's just, I'm going to do the hearts or something.
No.
Anyway, we played Sion, 80 Sion Nautilus bottom lane versus Sivir Soraka. Now, you would think that running a Sivir bottom lane with that spell shield would stop a lot of kill lanes, because it does stop a lot of the damages and the knockups and whatnot if she pops at the right time. However, according to Monte Cristo, the Sivir was a 2000 ELO player. I never looked it up. I'm just repeating what he said, and I've heard him say it multiple times. So, boost my ego more, I suppose. I would just start it up with a dredge line straight in. I would thread the needle on that. Anytime where she was at, I would dredge line either Soraka or Sivir, pop them again with my passive, which roots him in place. Sion would walk up with his stun, and then I would E after that was all done. And they weren't going anywhere, or if they would, they were at a quarter life, and they couldn't do anything. We were literally stopping Sivir, one of the best pushing bottom lane champs from farming. Sion, who's a melee champion, had 30 CS more than Sivir did at any point in that game, just because of how well that kill lane and Nautilus worked with Sion. Now, I'm sure he would work just as great with Jarvan, but yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's also mention it was a 1700 ELO Sivir. It wasn't like a regular scrub Sivir. This is actually a good Sivir who's actually won plenty of games and played plenty of games and just got wrecked. It was fun to watch because you could watch either one of you could initiate it, and then the other could follow up. Mm-hmm. It was sick. It was absolutely sick.
Yes, and that's what's great. A lot of people like I've heard of Obscurica. He does a week, every time a new champion comes out, he talks about the new champion. He does a great job of rundown of the champion and how he thinks he should be played. And he said, hey, let's go play him in the jungle. He could be a kind of okay support. Well, I say Nautilus played with the right hands is a fucking amazing support. Well, the only difference here is we had gotten a conversation about what's the difference between Nautilus and Leona. Does Nautilus do more AoE damage than Leona? For those who don't know, Leona has her E can go through creeps and will hit the first champion and pull them straight to it. Q will stun in place, and her W pops an AoE, which does damage. Every time she hits any of her abilities, she puts a passive on the character that will allow anyone attacking her to do extra magic damage. Now, Nautilus doesn't have that passive, which makes Leona so great, the fact that she can walk through creeps, but a well-placed thread the needle dredge line from Nautilus is just the same as a Leona. It's just more about positioning at that point. You engage with that Q, and at the end you do that R, which is going to be another pop-up. It follows him around, it pops him up, you dredge line into him. It's good game. So when we were talking about who's going to be able to AoE damage, it doesn't matter because your W you only use your W as a support as Nautilus to tank damage. You don't use it for that AoE it adds. So really, they do the same amount of AoE damage in the long run. The only difference is Leona can go through creeps and Nautilus can't.
Yeah, I think we also need to talk about where I like to play Nautilus.
You're done. I'm going to disconnect from you.
Nautilus mid, baby. Oh my god. His skills scale off of AP, except for his W, which who needs a shield? You're playing in the mid anyways. It's amazing. Your Q is very easy to land even in mid, and the Q to E combo will burst down most AP squishies. All the way through the levels. One combo will get them to at least half health. So you can get two combos or at least one combo to chase them out, or they use a health pot, but as soon as you get your ultimate, it's a death. I mean, they're going to die. The only issue you have to worry about is being ganked, as Nautilus really doesn't have a whole lot to get him out of a gank other than his E, but if you're eating to get out of a gank with that slow, chances are you're probably already screwed as it is because they're going to be on top of you. But he's very good being very tanky. He's a lot like playing Mordekaiser, with just a little bit more harass. So if you're into those tanky mids, which I kind of like, try out AP mid Nautilus. It's a lot of fun. Use pretty much the same runes you would for Mordekaiser, give or take. You're not really. You may want to go with the mana regen per level seals, as the health per level seals may not be as good, but they'll charge up your shield. So up to you where you go there, but I find that early levels he can be a little bit mana dependent if you're constantly harassing, which you're going to need to do considering his range on his auto attack.
Auslander, I know you bought him. Have you got to play him much?
Yeah, no, not really. Just that first day. So I don't really have anything new to add. But I've seen him played a lot, and he's definitely cool. Well, I love his skills are really fun. But yeah, you guys have played it more than I have.
Yeah, it's been really rewarding. I mean, we got Ziggs. Ziggs was amazing. We got Nautilus, also amazing. We've just really had some pretty cool champs. I mean, I don't work for Riot. I don't get paid by Riot or anything. I think we've gotten some pretty neat champs recently. I almost want to do a bit on analyzing some of the more recent champs we've gotten and where this direction's going, because they've been really fun and really cool. You know, Fizz was really fun to play, still is. Very recent champion. Ari, also really cool kit, really fun to play. So, some really neat champs. So, I'm excited to see what comes next.
Hornet, you said you were totally ready for talk about this conversation. We just touch on everything that you had to say.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, don't get me wrong. I haven't played him, so I haven't. His walk is slow as shit.
He has 300 movement speed, no boots.
Yeah, that's the one thing that does bother me is he walks slow as shit. He's just this big lunking character, you know, that's 3 times the size of Alistar. It seems like seriously, like what do they do? It's like he's already got promote on him. He's that big, so I feel like he should have been scaled a little better. But as far as watching his playstyle and what he can do, there's a lot of fun things. And I remember Ranhert had pointed to me to. I'll give credit to Red Mercy on this. Watched him play Nautilus mid, and after he had come out, and just watched some of the really neat things that you can do with him, because he really is a skill champ with the ability to, you know, where you place your Q and how you use the slow movement to your advantage where you get pulled to, whether you do it to a champ or whether you are able to then, you know, say you're diving under a tower. You don't necessarily want to use your pull to pull the champ in because they're already going to be there, even though it might do a little extra damage. You want to actually use it so that you get the cooldown to be lower. So there's a lot of strategy involved in how you play him and where you go with him, and I really like that effect on him. I really think he really fits in as a fun-to-play champ, and I'm really looking forward to watching you play him some more. I think he's going to be fun to watch.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I'm going to play him a lot more. I know I play a lot more of the AD carry, but I have fun playing support every once in a while. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Alistar and spamming his shift 1. That's just too much fun for me. I don't care how the game goes. I just walk around. You can't milk those!
Why am I not surprised?
I know you and Tom spent a lot of time together, but are you like the same person all of a sudden? Because that's like all he did last night.
No, he did it because of me. He did it because...
Oh, please.
No, I fucking talked about it.
Get out of here. Oh, my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Come on. What is going on here? Unbelievable.
No, because...
I'm sorry, Tom. I am so sorry.
No, see, like he said right here, he did it because he was trolling Monte Cristo. Because we told Monte Cristo today, he actually did a lot of live casts last night. Go check him out. Twitch.tv/GG Chronicle. Also on YouTube /OptimusTomTV. I believe that's right. Anyway, he casted last night, and his game sounds were just really blaring and loud. So Tom walked around spamming Shift 1 because of it. And Tom knows how much I love to play Alistar and spam. You can't milk those!
Yeah, what is it about my friends that I bring into this game that they continuously play Alistar? I don't know. Alciner played Alistar, Hornet played Alistar,
Your recommendations
Alistar.
told me to play him. I'm blaming the two of you, not Pwn. I'm blaming the two of you on me playing Alistar. And then after I play him, nerf, nerf bat. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, give me a character that's actually going to sustain for a while. I had to go learn it on my own to find a character that would sustain. I play Ash, he goes into the toilet. I play Alistar, he goes into the toilet. And
don't touch my misfortune. No, just shut up.
Yeah, right. You know, and not only that, I was playing Alistar bot in 3v3 games.
That's
like
awesome.
2v1, like torture playing those games.
I had fun.
Maybe
that's all that matters. Auslander had fun.
Yeah, maybe Auslander would come support me from the jungle. Yeah, Auslander was jungling, by the way. So, you know, Ranhert gets the 1v1 with his wonderful Teemo, and I get the 2v1 with, you can't milk those.
You can't milk those. No, Ranhert, do you remember our Poppy game? I played Alistar with Poppy bottom lane. I was totally trolling at this point. And I told Ranhert, let's go. And he fucking dives the turret at level 2, makes it out with 30 life.
Well, I mean, that's what I do. I'm either going to make it out or I'm going to die, but I'm going to dive the turret. I don't need to wait for my ult either.
I'm actually coming back out alive, though. Like, what's the percentage rate?
Of him making it
coming
back
out of alive underneath the turret?
Yeah, 20%?
Not even that. Shit, like 10%.
I do all right.
No.
I want to make an assertion here. If you have a new player that's going to start playing League of Legends, do not have them play Poppy first, because I honestly believe that Poppy might have led to Ranhert syndrome.
I guarantee it did.
Do not let them play Poppy. Probably not Kale either. There, you happy?
Oh my god. Yes, I am so happy.
Yeah, don't build Zonias either, because it only saves your ass.
So, unfortunately, I don't think we can really run down the free
Pantheon
champs.
sucks too,
Jesus
while we're at
Christ.
it.
You know what?
Oh my god, you know what?
You know, Ranhert, just shut your mouth. Auslander, I think we're done with this
He's the only guy
week.
that ever supports me.
I don't care, Auslander, take us out and shut your mouth, Ranhert.
All right. Well, if you want to give us a call, our phone number is 203-494-203-493-6723. You can text that number as well, and we'll answer your question on the podcast. Or you can email us at feedback@trinityforcepodcast.com, or follow us on Twitter at tforcepodcast.
Beautiful. That'll pretty much do it for the end of this week, unless you guys have anything else you want to say. Ranhert, what do you want to get off your chest? Because I know you're about to say something. I can see it in your face.
I don't want to say
Oh,
anything.
Oh, bullshit. When have you never not talked?
Look at this. I've got like a halo around my head.
Oh my God.
I'm at peace right now. Grusaba.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, guys, that was good cast. We will see you next week live, 8 o'clock. Don't forget about Optimus Town's Battle Arena every single night. Don't forget to go check out ggc.leaguecraft.com, and we will be back here next week. Check us out tomorrow. Subscribe us on YouTube. Bye.